Someone remembers exactly what embarrasses you, reads the room quickly, and knows when you are upset. Does that make the person a dark empath? Not from those facts. It may show social awareness. It may show empathy. It may show careful attention. What it does not show is a diagnosis, a hidden motive, or that the person is more dangerous than a narcissist. The phrase dark empath came from a real research paper. Online, it has turned into a warning label for a nearly perfect manipulator. The study itself found something more limited and more interesting. Let us test the label through 3 scenarios. Scenario 1 is the person who reads you accurately. Jordan notices that a coworker is overwhelmed before anyone else does. Jordan can explain the coworker's point of view and adjusts the conversation to reduce pressure. That sounds empathic, but empathy is not one single ability. Researchers often distinguish cognitive empathy from affective empathy. Cognitive empathy is understanding another person's mental state or perspective. Affective empathy is sharing or resonating with the person's emotional experience. The Dark Empath study measured both. It also measured the 3 traits usually grouped as the Dark Triad: Machiavellianism, narcissism, and psychopathy. The researchers analyzed self-report data from 991 participants. Their statistical model identified 4 profiles. One group scored high in dark traits and low in empathy. The paper called this the traditional Dark Triad profile. A second group scored high in dark traits and high in empathy. That was the Dark Empath profile. The other 2 groups were empaths, with lower dark traits and high empathy, and typicals, with lower dark traits and average empathy. This is the first crucial point. A dark empath was a group-level statistical profile in a non-clinical sample. It was not a diagnosis created to identify one person from a few conversations. Jordan's accurate reading of a coworker is therefore not enough. High empathy appeared in more than one profile, and ordinary social skill is not evidence of dark traits. Now add a counterexample. Jordan notices the stress, reduces the pressure, checks consent, and later accepts feedback. That pattern supports care and repair. The fact that Jordan could understand a vulnerability does not mean it was weaponized. Scenario 2 is the person who uses a vulnerability as leverage. Alex knows that a partner fears abandonment. During conflict, Alex repeatedly threatens to disappear unless the partner gives up a boundary. Later, Alex says, "I only mentioned leaving because I know how much this relationship matters to you." Here, the behavior is concerning. Personal knowledge is being tied to pressure. But the safest conclusion is still about conduct, not a viral identity. You can say that the threat was coercive. You can say that the boundary was not respected. You can document the pattern. You do not need to prove that Alex belongs to a latent statistical profile. This matters because the online story often says empathy becomes a weapon. The study did not observe participants collecting secrets or deliberately selecting vulnerabilities to exploit. It used questionnaires to measure traits, empathy, personality, aggression, and well-being. Some participants completed additional measures in smaller subgroups. 301 contributed data used for personality and indirect aggression comparisons. 285 contributed detailed dark trait measures. 240 contributed well-being measures. Those results help describe average differences between profiles. They do not reveal what Alex intended during one argument. The study did find that the Dark Empath group retained what the authors called an antagonistic core. Compared with the typical and empath groups, both the Dark Empath and traditional Dark Triad groups showed more aggression and dark trait facets and lower agreeableness. That is a reason not to romanticize the profile. But the most viral claim runs in the opposite direction from another result. The Dark Empath group showed lower aggression and better well-being than the traditional Dark Triad group. The paper did not conclude that adding empathy created the most dangerous personality in the room. So, Scenario 2 gives us a better rule. When someone uses your vulnerability as leverage, respond to the leverage. Do not inflate the evidence into a brain claim or a universal danger ranking. Scenario 3 is the charismatic person who fails a boundary test. Sam is funny, attentive, and popular. Sam also makes cutting jokes, then says anyone who objects is too sensitive. When a friend asks Sam to stop, Sam apologizes in a way that sounds perfect. A week later, the same joke returns, followed by the same apology. Is that a dark empath? The study cannot answer. It was cross-sectional and relied on self-report measures. A latent profile shows how responses clustered in one data set. It does not predict with certainty what any individual will do next, but the scenario contains useful evidence. Sam understands the objection. The apology demonstrates that understanding. The behavior then repeats without meaningful change. That gap between understanding and repair matters more than whether Sam fits an online label. Use 4 questions. First, what happened in observable terms? Second, did the person understand the effect or only perform the right words? Third, did behavior change after the boundary? Fourth, can you disagree without being punished, humiliated, or pressured? The same questions also prevent false positives. Suppose Sam makes one careless joke, hears the objection, apologizes without blaming the friend, and changes the behavior. That is not proof of a manipulation cycle. Repair is evidence too. Now we can answer the comparison in the original viral question. Is a dark empath worse than a narcissist? The comparison is not scientifically clean. Narcissism is one of the traits included in the Dark Triad measures. The Dark Empath label describes a profile combining multiple elevated dark traits with elevated empathy. A profile from one statistical model is not the same kind of thing as a single trait, and neither is automatically a clinical diagnosis. The paper also did not compare dark empaths with people diagnosed with narcissistic personality disorder. It cannot rank the danger of those groups. This is where careful psychology becomes more protective than dramatic psychology. A dramatic label can make every kind gesture look fake. It can turn confidence into proof of narcissism and social skill into proof of manipulation. Once the label explains everything, contradictory evidence stops mattering. A behavior test does the opposite. It forces the conclusion to stay proportional to the evidence. Here is the decision rule. Do not decide whether someone is safe because they seem empathic. Do not decide they are dangerous because they understand emotions. Watch for repeated deception, exploitation, coercion, humiliation, retaliation, and refusal to repair. Then watch what happens when you set a reasonable boundary. Concern rises when understanding is repeatedly used to narrow your freedom and no accountable change follows. Concern falls when the person accepts limits, corrects the behavior, and leaves you free to make an independent choice. The Dark Empath study added nuance to personality research. It showed that empathy and elevated dark traits could coexist in one measured profile. It also found that this profile was less aggressive than the traditional Dark Triad group, not more. That does not make the profile harmless. It makes the viral supervillain story unsupported. The final question is not, did this person read me perfectly? It is, what did they do with what they understood, and what changed after I said no? If you want psychology that checks the study before repeating the label, subscribe to Psyche Rush HQ.